How are you coming along with the not providing information on the school data that your holder has requested?
Well, that's a good question. It got a lot of attention earlier in the week, but you know, we've been sued by the United States government over the immigration bill, and we've agreed with the government that we would stay all of our litigation pending appeal, and it's now on appeal in the 11th Circuit. Well, the Civil Rights Division kind of came around the back door and said, well, we think there might be some discrimination occurring in your schools, and we want all this information. And I have no problem with giving whatever information they're entitled to. And I've said countless times, we're not going to allow for any discrimination against children. What disturbed me was they're required under the law to provide us with evidence of any kind of discriminatory activity at all, to give us a chance to address it. They've refused to do that. As a matter of fact, I've asked several times, please, you know, we're fellow law enforcement agencies, let us know so we can work together. They have refused to do that, and or explain how they're not going to use that against us in the litigation, which would not be a fair use of the, the law. So we're going to cooperate in every way with them every way we can. But I want them to. I've asked them to comply with their side of the responsibilities, and hopefully they will shortly, and we'll get them whatever they're entitled to.
And one other thing is, I know you've been in and out of Washington for many years, and have seen the U.S. Attorney General's office work. Is this the worst one that you've ever seen?
Well, that's a loaded question. Well, what I don't like is the politicizing these issues like this immigration issue. Look, that's a tough policy issue. The United States government is responsible for that issue. Everybody agrees, and they've totally abdicated their responsibility. They refuse to enforce the laws. And so it's very frustrating. That's why all these states are passing their own laws, And we've tried to deal with it in court, and they want to make it a civil rights issue. I just don't think there's any possible comparison to that, But be that as it may, that's just an issue we'll try and deal with in court. On other issues like the oil spill and on criminal prosecutions and other issues, we work together really well with the Justice Department. It's just when you inject politics into an issue like immigration, which is a national problem, it really can get, it's just unfortunate, it gets off on that path.
I've got one more question, General, and that is down in Texas for the past 10 years, and this would have been under the Bush administration as well as this one, convicting of Border Patrol agents, and I saw one on TV one morning this week, said I was doing what they trained me to do, and now he spent 27 months in prison, and his primary witness against him was a guy that he had arrested and was sentenced to 5 or 6 years in prison. But it seems as though they're giving preferential treatment to get witnesses against our people.
I'm not that familiar with that case, but there have been a lot of problems. I mean, this fast and furious gun running operation, giving guns to people to use against our own law enforcement folks, that's a tragic situation. There's a lot of problems, but I'm not trying to get into a battle with the Justice Department. We should be on the same team. That's what I constantly say is, if you know something that's going on, and it's frustrating when they come down and say, we're opening up a hotline to handle all this abuse that we're hearing about, and I call them and say, what are you hearing about? Send it to us. You're obligated to do that because we're on the same team on enforcing these laws. I mean, protecting people's rights, people being abused or whatever, and they refuse to even respond. That's what's frustrating.